you so much. Thank you so much for joining today's session. We'll be doing something really simple. This is a COVID application assignment that was given to all of you. You're supposed to come up with this UI with HTML, CSS, and possibly JavaScript. All right, and then so yeah, you can leverage on Bootstrap however you want. So let me show you how you can get that done. All right, so let's just go ahead and create a simple folder. So I'm just going to use my terminal to create a folder. I'm going to call it a COVID app. Okay, and I would then navigate into the COVID app folder. All right, I'll clear my screen and I'll just simply open my code editor. Okay, so this is my code editor. I think I'll close all other editors so that we can focus on today's work. Okay, so imagine that some of the things that you might want to do is, if you look at this, it means that we actually have what? A logo, which means we need an image folder to put our images there. If there are JavaScript acting here, we might need a JS folder as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and then create quick folders and then add stuff for us to go. So I'll firstly create an image folder, and I would then create another folder called, I don't know, maybe JS, and I think this created a file. Let me delete it quickly. Suffer a lot today because I would have to type from scratch. Just a second. Sorry. JS. I'll hit on enter. Okay. So, and also we are just going to have a simple index.html page here. So let's go to Get Bootstrap. So we can visit the getbootstrap.com and we visit the getting an introduction. Let me close this guy. I think I'm being called that our meeting is starting soon. Unfortunately, I'll join exactly 5 o'clock. All right, so I'll copy this. So this is a template from Bootstrap that gets you started quickly. So I'll paste that here. Okay, so with this in mind, we can go ahead and check in our browser. What do we have? Okay, so I'm going to, minimize everything. I'll go into the folder called Code More, and I created the COVID app, and I'll click on index, and you can see it says hello world. Okay, so first of all, we have Bootstrap in our page. Okay, that is why the font is quite bigger. You can see it in action. All right, so what shall we do here? Here we can change this to our COVID app. I'll save my work, maximize this. I would then remove this hello world from there, and I will leave everything as it is right now. Okay, I would create a simple div. So I'll say div with a class, and then the class is going to have a container. All right. And you remember the container class is just like, to contain our contents. So I would then save my work and I'll come back here. It's going to be empty when we refresh it. So what we can do is that over here, we are just going to go straight to looking at what is this, what does this represent? I think it represents the Bootstrap nav brand class, right? This top part. Imagine that we had a lot of navigation, then we will put it there. So what I'm going to do is to simply come in here. Maybe before we have even our div, I can create a nav at the top, a class called nav. Okay. I'll open my nav and I'll close my nav. Okay, sorry. And so I can give this a class. Okay. And you know what? You are not supposed to suffer. Just come in here and check on Bootstrap and then search on nav. Okay, it will give you a sample navigation element. So I'm just going to scroll down and you can see that we have nav, we have navbar, we have all these classes. You can copy all of them or you can just copy some of them. So I can copy the nav, I think that's okay. I just need a nav bar, and then I would need the nav brand. Okay, that is where our logo would go. So I'll copy that, and I'll go and type nav bar. So let's go back to our browser. So I'll do something like this. Say nav bar. Okay, and then I would paste in the nav bar link here. I will come back here to my page. Okay, I'll come back to my page. I'll refresh the browser, and you can see we have navbar, right? We can replace that with an image. That's what it means. So let's see if we have some image, like the COVID-19 image, for instance. So I'll go here. I think inside here we have images. As part of the images, we have all this image. I'll just copy them. Okay, and I'll go back to my COVID project. You remember I just created an image folder. I'll paste the image here. All right, so now I have an image. So I can come back here and then I'll replace this with an image. Okay, so let's do that quickly. So I would do an img. I would give it an src, like a source. So I'm going to link my image folder in here. You can see that we have image, so I'm just going to link my image folder. So I'm going to say image slash the name of the image. What logo? We have logo final.jpg over there. So I'm just going to link and say that I want the logo underscore final.jpg. I would save my work and I will come back here. I think, okay, can you see that? So first of all, we have our logo. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to give it a width, and this width, I'm going to give it a width of what is it going to be? I think about 70 pixels. Save my work. Come back here, refresh, and you can see I'm reducing the logo to however I want it. I think 170 should be okay. Looking at what we have over there, I would click here and you can see I have my first logo. Okay, now let's look at how exactly can we come up with these three things. Let's diagnose it first. I think do I have my, I don't know whether okay, so first of all, I think I need to learn how to use the Bootstrap, this zoom thing. I've forgotten how I use it, but you can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And you remember Bootstrap has a grade system. This first thing is called row, right? And it has 12 columns. So if you want all the 12 columns to be occupied by 1, 2, 3, 4 cards, these ones are called Bootstrap cards. Okay, if you want all of them to be, to have the Bootstrap cards, we just need to apply, the card class to it. Let me show you what I mean by that. And also, when we come down to this side, this countries table that you see, and then this 2 cards, you can see that they are also occupying what? 12 columns, except that this table will be occupying 8 columns, and maybe this will be occupying the rest of the 4 columns. Now, let me not confuse you. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay. So I have Bootstrap, I have a container, I would have my div, and I will give a class called row. Okay, and I would close this guy. Okay, and once I close it, I would then have my columns in here. Okay, so let me show you what I mean. So we have div, we have a class, and then we give it a column, and this column is going to be, let's say this is going to be 6. I'll close my div. Okay, and I will say hi in here. Now what I'm trying to show you is how the columns would work. So 1, 2. All right, so imagine that we have 6. This is 16. A row is supposed to be only 12, but I have 16, right? So you notice that one of it has moved to the next line because the first row is occupied. Let's use Chrome DevTools to look at what exactly we have in here. All this we've done it in class. I just want to repeat for those of you who might have like petty excuses to give in there. Now I'll click here. You can see, let me see on computer. I think that's fine, because when I put my mouse over it, you can see that this is the 6, this is the another 6, and this is an extra 6. Okay, so that is how the Bootstrap columns work. Now we are on our way to design 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll divide the 12 columns by what? Into 3, and then 3. I'll save my work, come back to my browser, refresh in here, and you can see it says hi, 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 right? Now, if this is 9, so I can add an additional 1 here and say hi. Now let's go back to our page and then look at what we have. So we have 4 highs on our page. That's cool. Now I don't want to write anything, so I'll just come in here and I'll type cards. So Bootstrap has, cards. I'll click in there. I'll look at the Bootstrap cards. Okay, look at it. Is this do you want anything like any of this? Do you see similarities there? So we have a title, and then we have what? A body. That's like something like that. So I have a title here, I have subtitle, and I have body. All right, let me scroll down. I think I would use another one. Let's see. Okay, I think this has, the title, the body, and button. Okay, I'll use this. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing, okay? And I'll replace my row, this entire row, with the row that I just copied. Okay, I would, let you see it well. So see in here, so I have, we have the nav that we added for our picture, and we have a container, and this container, let me go in here. All right, cool. I would highlight it also so that I can indent it. So when you highlight it, or you can press Control and then the angle bracket to shape, indent it well. Okay, so now see, we have still the row, but we have 6 column and we have another 6 column, right? Let's save our work, go back to our browser so you see the result that we have from what we've just previewed. Whoops, okay. Okay, so you can see we have COVID app and then we have cards. Okay, we don't need the button, so let's go and remove the button from there. So I would remove this button. I think I'll just Control highlight all this, and I'll press Control D to highlight the second one, remove it as well, and then I would refresh in here, and you can see we have special title, treatment, and all those stuff. That's cool. Now let's look at what we can do. What exactly we want is that this should become 3, and this should become 3 as well. I'll save my work, and what I'll just do for now is that I know that this column ends here, so I'll copy this column, because 1, 2, 3, I mean in terms of 1, 2, 3, so 1, 2, 3 ends one column. I mean the div closing tag is over there. So I'll come in here and then I'll paste in for another column to be created. So I would then have 3 columns, and you see Bootstrap is adjusting all of them to form cards. Okay, now let's add an extra card. I think that would show you that whatever we did in class, whatever we've been learning, is not like we were joking. This is what you are supposed to produce at the end. Okay, now let's look at whether we are making sense in terms of comparing it with this. Okay, so the top one is going to be total case, recovery case, active case. Okay, so let me do total and recovery first. Okay, so in here, I'm going to have, this is going to be called total case. I'm going to find something and paste in here, and I'll call this the recovery case. Okay, and maybe the last one we would have is the 2 active and death. How many people died during the COVID? So we will do the let me see. Oh, sorry. So I think I'll move this to the top and say that total case recovery case active case, and then the last thing we are going to do 1 2 3 is going to be the death, how many people died. Okay, let's go back to our page and look at what we're doing. Refresh and you can see it takes over. Now we are simply going to generate some numbers, 1 million for all of them. So let's go do that. So let's say that at the top part we can see here, right, I would highlight for all those content that are similar to be copied, and I will say that we have 1 million 340 to save my work. Go back in here and we have a simple matching of this particular thing over here. But I know we have caret. We'll look at how to come about with something like that. Caret over here. Okay, so let's go back to Bootstrap and we call that icon caret. I'll click in there. Gideon, Abiba, Sana, cases instead of case. All right, cool. Thank you. Thank you about that. I'll look at it. So I want the caret, okay, an icon that like this icon, okay. So let's look at how to get something like that. Icon, I don't think it's icons. I just want the caret icon, caret. Enable caret. Let's see how to include caret in our work. I'm just going to do caret here. Okay, so it says that enable pseudo elements. If we add this to our as a class, it might give us the caret. So let's go and see how exactly that would help us. So let's say for after each of the title, the total case, we will need the this class over there. Let's go and check what does this apply to our work. I'll click here and you can see we have a caret over there. So this is a Bootstrap class that gives you an icon. I'm just going to copy it and I'll paste it a few more. My time is running, so I will end soon, but it's fine. Cases, yep, thank you for highlighting that. Was it Gideon or I think so. So I'll come in here, I'll paste my code, and I'll say there should be cases instead of case as well. So therefore we are going to have caret all around. So I'm going to say that there should also be okay, I will call this okay, sorry, someone just distracted me. I don't like when people distract me. Okay, so I think this has moved down. Let's look at what happened. Because someone distracted me, I guess I pasted it at the wrong place. What do you think? What did I do wrong here? Body. Okay, yeah, I said it. I don't like it when I'm distracted. Okay, go back here, refresh our page, and you can see we have caret all over the place. Now let's see, what should we be able to add to our work? All right, we are making a good progress. You can put a shadow there. You can do this on your own. This icon can be changed to red, green, and then all the things you see can be changed. The quick thing I'm going to do is to go to the second line so that we design that as well. So first of all, we have done our nav. We are done with the nav. We are done with the div container. And then we want to move to the the second part. So I'm going to do another div So I'll do div with a class equals to container, and okay, so I would then give this one to a row. So I'll say div with a class of row. Okay, and I'll close in here the row. Right now, within this row, we are going to have one to be 8 columns. I mean, this entire table will take 8 columns, and this two things over here would take 4 columns. So let's do that. So I'm just going to say div with a class of column of 8. I'll close my div. Remember to always close your div as early as possible, lest you forget. So I'll do another div with a class of column, and then I would give it 4. Okay, yeah, I would then close this div. Okay, so with this in mind, we can now put, maybe, what we're going to be doing is that we are going to design 2 cards. Okay, so one card would be 1, 2, 3, like this. All right, we're going to design a card. So the card is going to have something like, let me show you what we are going to do. Okay, so imagine that we have a card, all right, with a column of 4, and then just don't worry, I'll show you what this would transform to. When you're learning it for the first time, you'll be quite confused. So this is our 8. Let me comment it out that this will be for our table. Oops. Okay, what was I doing? I think okay, our table. Oh sure, our table. Okay, I would comment this out. Oops. I'm suffering today because I'm not able to use all my shortcut keys because of things that I've installed. I've just messed up my code editor a bit, but it's okay, it's fine. So let's go on and then see. So this is going to be the 8 column for the table. This is going to be the 4 column that would have this, these 2 health tips and then news and updates. Let me go back, save my work, come in here, refresh my page, and you can see we have dev cases, something like that is over there. It's fine. I mean, now what I'm going to do is to give this 12 columns and then say that this is also going to be 12 columns. I will save my work, refresh in here, and you can see we have what? Dev cases and dev cases. It's fine. Now the extra thing I'm going to do is that you see this this first container that we have, we can give it a margin bottom and say that the margin bottom should be 5, so that there will be spacing between our work. Okay, let me refresh here. So you see this first container has a margin bottom of 4 over there. Now I will do the same thing for this, because after this dev case and then the dev case, there is no space between these 2 cards. So I'm going to design that out as well. Let me just scroll down. So for each card, for each of these 12 columns, I'm going to add MB, which means margin bottom, and I'll give it like 5. Copy this guy, and I'll do the same thing for here. Save my work, and then I would hit on enter, and you can see we have dev cases and then dev cases. Now you can pretty see that I'm using a very good technique, and we are arriving at, okay, do you have, okay, cool, fine. And you can see that we are having like health tips and health tips. We can change that to whatever we want right when we are where we are. Okay, so health tips and health tips. Okay, now let's see. We need a table. We go here, you type on table, hit on enter, search for Bootstrap table. Which of this table would you want to use? If any of these are cool with you, you can just copy it and use it. Does it look like any of this table? If it does, you can use it. Okay, so look at it. Look at the table that looks very similar to what we want, and then we'll copy that one. And you remember the 8 columns that we reserved, we put the table in there. Here. Okay. I will then highlight everything, and then I'll indent it. I'll push it in so that it will be within the div. Come in here, refresh my page, and you can see we are basically designing this entire COVID layout that we see here. It's coming out great, right? It's coming out great. Now let's see, what are we supposed to do? First one is supposed to be country, second one is supposed to be total cases, and the third one is active cases. So let's go change that. So we don't need a 1, 2, 3 over there, which means here we can change it to the countries and maybe total cases, active case, I don't know, recovery. Okay, and I think the last one would be the number of people who passed out. That would be the death. Save my work. Now this place, I think we added one more table column to it. So here, let's say it's going to be Ghana. Here is going to be, I don't know, total case. It's going to be something like, I don't know, like 2 million. Sorry, I think I should make it 2,000. I don't want people to die. And I'll make this to be 3,000. I'll make this to be 4,000. And I'll make the last one to be 5,000. I'll save my work, come back in here, refresh, and you can see that we have Ghana, we have the number of people over there having positive result. I will copy this total, the row, and I would highlight all the other rows. I'll remove them. Okay, and maybe I can paste one more row. Okay, but I'll start from there down. My work, come back here, refresh, and you can see that we have countries, total cases, active cases, recovery cases. Let's just say that I do not know, but the other ones seem not to be coming very well. You can fix that on your own, but I'm going to try one thing and see if it works, then we go with that. Okay, so here there's a Bootstrap class called floats. You can use that to let items come from the far end instead of the other side. Okay, I think it's not working. Oops. It's not working. It's not coming from that far end. Let me go check what floats, right? I think that is the class. Let me check. Let's see. Okay, I'm seeing this is not falling in line with all the other things, so I was trying to figure that out, but you can basically do that on your own. So if you thought of this being difficult for the start, it is not difficult. It's just that easy. Break your solution into chunks, and then you'll be able to come out with how exactly you want it to be. Now there is an API that gives you this is what is called data tables. You can tables.net helps you to give a very cool table to our table is quite boring, so you can use this one to replace it. Also, there is a concept called fetch API, so we are going to try our hands on it and see how it looks like. Okay. Also, I think I also came across the COVID solution. Let me see here. Yeah, there is an API called COVID. Let me show you what I mean by that. Okay, this, if you just come here, this website, it's called COVID API. Okay, COVID. Okay, covid.com. So you can see they have a very nice website. Go to their documentation, and then you can be able to make like an Ajax score to search for this particular like let's say we want to make a get request. So I'll click here. I'll click on try it now, and then see it is going to fetch data for me based on some specific region. All right, let's see how exactly we can use this to close this session. Very quick one. So I'm just going to come in here and I will say that I need a script, and this script is going to have an SRC. This SRC is going to have like, I don't know, something like we are going to go into the JavaScript folder and maybe we'll look for the main.js. Okay, then I would then close this script. Okay, Fox, which means that I'll come in here. You see, we had our JS. I'll create a new file called maybe main.js. Okay, and I'll just define a function. The function I'm going to call it like fetch. I'm going to say that it should be fetch, I don't know, COVID data. So this is going to be a function, okay? This is going to be a function. So I'm going to say a function called fetch COVID data. All right. Now, what this is simply going to do is an Ajax request, but there is a new JavaScript function called fetch. Okay, all you need to do is to give it what an endpoint that it should fetch from. Let's say that I want to visit. You see, if we do something like we do regions, it will fetch all the regions for us. Let me execute this. It will fetch all the regions for us. Okay, so we can do something like that. All we need to do is just include it inside our fetch API call. In here, I'm just going to do fetch. Okay, and I will, when you create a function, you need to call it. So I'll basically come in here and I'll say fetch data. Save my work, come back to here, make sure everything is loaded the way it is supposed to be loaded. JS main.js. Let's come back in here to our web page. Let's open our Chrome DevTools, and then I'll come in here inside my main.js. I would then simply do, let's just save this work, come back here, load this page. It says that it can't find the main.js. Let's go see, maybe we didn't link it well. So we'll then say that, hey, go from this to a folder called JavaScript. Let's load it again. Okay, it loads very well, which means that here it has done a get request to the endpoint. See, all the data has been fetched for us. Okay, so however we want to use it is entirely up to us over here. However we want to use it is entirely up to us. So with this in mind, there is, this is going to fetch, like contact another server to pull up some data. So usually you use something called async, and then whilst it is trying to fetch from that particular endpoint, you use await, and then whatever you receive from there, you would put it inside a value. Maybe let's say COVID data equals to await. So this would be the COVID data that we are going to get. Let me show you how it's going to be. Like console.log. Let's log what is the CID data. How does it look like? This would return some data for you. Let's hit on it, come here, and you can see it returns something called promise. Okay, this needs to be converted to a JSON data format so that you can use it. Let's go back in there, hit on enter, and it takes a minute to load. Yeah, it's returning some other thing, and but you can see data in here. See all the data that we are trying to load. You can see it all here for us. So Fox, this is how you simply use the fetch API to fetch data. Now when you are done, you can use jQuery to be able to populate this data for you. Now let's look at a sample of how I connected all this together. let's my time is up. Let me just open one for you. Okay, I'm going to open a COVID app I built earlier on today. It's on my GitHub, so you can go check it out if you want. I'll click on it. Okay, I have the main JS. You can see that what I did is simply to have an async function just like we have, and then the async function is making a fetch API call. You know, saving whatever is coming into a particular variable, and then I am converting it to the JSON just like I showed you. And when I'm done, I then do for each using jQuery. Okay, so why don't we just copy all this now that all of them should make sense to you, and let me show you how that would behave in your case. Okay, I think I should do this rather. Okay, so whatever is in here, I'll copy it all, and then I would highlight it all, paste the data in there. I need this variable. I'll show you why that variable is there. But basically, it means that this is jQuery. I mean, this is a jQuery format. So I will then delete everything that I brought in so that it will look the same. Now let me show you what I'm doing over there. So I'm using something called for each. Okay, you remember sometime we did something on using I think was it map. Okay, map, and then we would map over all the values, right? We did something like that. Now you can also use something like each. Okay, but this would require that you actually have JavaScript. Now, where is this? This is like saying that document.getElements called report ID. Okay, so that means that my table, this table, I'm going to give it an ID. Okay, and this ID, I'm going to paste whatever is in here, say report. Okay, so it means that I am now grabbing that particular ID, document.getElement by ID called reports. I'm using jQuery to make it simpler. Then I will assign that particular report value to here, and I will say that let report be this. Let me basically see what I was doing here. Can we do something like this? Just a second. Let's see how it works. Okay. So this means that when the fetch API call is made, it will just create a table data for me. Just like we have table data, I'll put the name of the region there. I'll put the confirmed cases there. This is concatenation. You all saw it before. Then we have report.active. The reason why I'm using report is that I save that particular data into a report variable. And for each of them, I'm calling it a report, right? So for each of the reports, I want the report region name. I want the report confirmed case. I want the report active case. I want the report recovery case, and then the death. Okay, so this would be appended to our report value that we have over there. Now let's see. Let me wrap up because my time is up. I need to join my next meeting. Is that of just a second? Let's see this. So I went to jQuery.com and I copied jQuery's file. So I'll create a file called jQuery.js. Hit on enter, paste this code here, and I would link that particular code here. Okay. All right, so this would simply do my jQuery. So I'm linking the jQuery.js in here. Let's go back to our page and look at what is happening to our app. Hit on enter. It does the API call, and let's see. Yes, it does the API call, but let's see what. Okay, so something went wrong. He says that report append is not a function. Okay, let's return it back to saving the. Let's return it back to how it was. Save our work, come back in here. It was doing the API call. Okay, let's see what happens once the API call is done. It's taking some time. Okay, see in here, and we just loaded some data into our application. Now this is no longer static. That is no longer static. It is what? It is not static. It is instead dynamic values that has come into our app. Okay, so this is how I came about, designing a simple COVID app that can, help us visualize the data, which means that we do not longer see. So what the logic is that we have a table row. For each table row, okay, I will copy this and I think I'll copy this like this. Okay. For each table row, we add table data for each of the columns. Now, what I'm doing is that I'm displaying a dynamic, rows coming in from our JavaScript in here. So you can see the same table row, but this first table data, I'm going to add a class to it. Let's see if it doesn't throw any error though, because usually you have a single quote, you have double quotes, it's going to cry on you. Okay, let's see. I think it will cry. Don't worry. Let's see, it's crying with us. Okay, go to more tools, go to developer tools. Yeah, something should be wrong. Okay, it's loaded. All right, that's cool. So we have an active case over here. All these are dynamically loaded. Okay, I don't have to send this to you. If you go to my github.com, so go to github.com/Dawood Idris, and then you would find the recent push that I made are all there. Okay, the recent push that I made are all here. You can find them here. So we have Flax COVID app. I have also added another one like MS clone. I have the NIL Flax. All of them. You can come in here and basically download this same project that I did. I've already done it and pushed it. I hope you enjoyed this class. I hope you learned a lot. Please take some time to watch it and make sure to submit your week 3 and then your week 4, week 5, week 6 assignments through the portal so we can quickly rate you up. And the last thing I need to call is that please make sure to visit your, I told you, I already opened it to you. This is hands-on Figma, hands-on design and build. You can please do that. Copy, go and watch it. And then make sure you install Adobe Experience Designer so that you can use it. It's just an offline version of Figma. Please, I beg you. Don't be there and then, don't shame me. Don't disgrace us. You already learned all these things. I taught you, I took some time to teach you several times because I didn't want to leave and hear some comments like he didn't teach us this. All right, so thank you so much. I'll post this video on my YouTube channel. Make sure to go in there and then subscribe. Thanks a lot to Gideon. Thanks to every one of you who joined. See you tomorrow or tomorrow next. We'll connect on another call. All right.